Hey folks, welcome back. Next we have Agustin Rego from Sky, formerly MakerDAO, to talk about why the future of marketing is offline. Let's hope.
Thank you. Hi everyone, thank you for joining. Before my introduction, I want to start the talk asking you, what do you feel right now? Not what do you think, what do you feel? Are you tired, happy, maybe overwhelmed? It's day 3 of ETHDenver. You probably attended to 12 side events, so that's okay. But hold that feeling for a second and be aware of it, because that feeling is the most important data point for any company that invested at least $1 in this conference. My name is Agustin Rego. I lead marketing and creative strategy at Sky, formerly known as MakerDAO, and today I want to talk about the future of marketing. We are living in an era where internet is commoditized. Like, the barrier to code is going to zero. The barrier to create content is also going to zero. We as marketers know that everyone can create a viral campaign for the price of a dinner. Actually, I did it 2 weeks ago. I created a video asking to Vitalik to tax the Elchus, and I have only 800 followers. And also it feels like the tech is also being commoditized. We have new AI models dropping every week. We have indie hackers bytecoding apps and killing startups every day. And it feels like startups need to drop features every week, because if not, they are being left behind by the competition. And it creates a kind of overwhelming race where we need to deliver every week, every time, and the audience is like overwhelmed with content and with stimulus. The result is overcrowded niches. We have 5 apps for every niche. And also feel like software is no longer a competitive advantage. At the same time, something is shifting in the internet culture. People want to go offline. I don't know if this resonates with you, but in my circle, we want to make enough money to don't have the necessity to be online, like to reply to Telegram messages quickly. Actually, tell me if I'm wrong, but how many times in the last 6 months you tried to delete your Twitter app from your phone or your Instagram from your phone? That's because we want to go offline. And offline is the new luxury. And with people going offline, people are seeking for emotional connection, real experiences, and for a purpose. So we as marketers should ask how we stand out in this crowded market with people trying to go offline, with people trying to have more, not more, but a real purpose. And in my opinion, the future of marketing is about creating an emotional experience around your brand and your product. The brands that are going to win will be the brands that figure out how to make people feel and how to connect with the purpose when they are offline. And this isn't something new. In 1928, Edward Bernays, he's like the father of public relations, he was working for the American Tobacco Company. And they had a problem. They want to expand the customer base, but half of the population didn't smoke, the women's, because smoke was a taboo at that time. What he did was super fun and also totally different what a rational marketer would do right now. If we ask to a marketer, he or she probably say, okay, let's run a campaign using a girl as the main character. Let's create an ads campaign. Let's create infographics talking about the tobacco benefits. But what Edward Bernays did is to hire women to march in New York with holding lit cigarettes in their hands and calling them torches of freedom. So he connected a product with a feeling. And he didn't change the product. He didn't release a new feature. What he did is to change how people feel when they use that product. And this was 100 years ago, but humans didn't change. We buy with emotion, and after that, we justify our decision with logic. So, if emotion drives every decision, you probably will ask me, okay, how I find the internal trigger of my audience or the emotional trigger of my audience. I like to use the 5 Whys framework from Nir Eyal's book called Hooked. In a nutshell, this framework is about taking your value proposition and ask why 5 times. Let's do it with Sky. Why does someone use Sky Savings? To get better yield on their stablecoins. Why do they want better yield? Because they want their money to grow. Why do they want their money to grow? Because they want financial independence. Why do they want financial independence? Because they want control over their future. 5. Why do they need that control? Because they are afraid of being left behind, of missing the opportunity, of don't have enough money when it matters. So you started with a savings product, and 5 Whys later, you ended up with a fear. And you ended up in the emotional territory of the savings product, the fear of not having enough money when it matters. And the key here is that you don't exploit that fear. What you do is to create an emotional experience. You create, you figure out that feeling, and you create an experience for the user to calm that fear. It applies for every company. For example, with X lives in the territory of missing out, fear of missing out. So when I use X, I feel urgency. Hyperliquid lives in the emotional territory of being late. So when I use Hyperliquid, I feel like a power user. I feel like the speed, the control, the precision over every trade. And with Cloud, I feel capable. I feel a developer, I feel a marketer, I feel a product manager, because Cloud lives in the fear of being not good enough. And as I say, you can apply this to every company, and you can use that framework with your company. The thing is that maybe at the end, you will find an emotion that probably you didn't thought that your product lives in that territory. That's because we usually postpone this exercise at the end when we need to create the marketing campaign. And we should put at first, when you create the product, you should ask these 5 whys, because the user experience, the features, how you communicate, the values of your product should born on this core emotion. I want to give you a call to action, a kind of homework for the rest of ETHDenver. Every time you walk into a brand activation, you engage in a booth, or you go to a side event, pause for a second and ask yourself, what do I feel? And don't stop here. Do it with your products that you use every day. The coffee in the morning, when you open the package, figure out how do you feel when you open it, when you see the brand that you choose to drink your coffee. Do it with your wallet, do it with your social media, and try to find the emotion that triggers you to use that product. And you will find that every company, every brand has an emotional place in your life. And that's the positioning. That's the positioning of the brand. And this is important because, and I want to remind this, you are not only building a product, you are composing a feeling that people associate with your product, that people associate with your brand. It's like music. When you listen to a song that gives you chills or make you happy, that was intentional by the composer. The build-ups, the drops, the silence, everything was intentional. So you should do the same with your brand, with your emotional experience that your brand creates around it. And I want to finish with this concept that in a world where everything is being commoditized, the only true advantage left is what can be measured, can be copied, and can be generated by AI, and it's the motions. The future of marketing is the motions. The future of marketing is Figure out what your audience feel and connect with that purpose. They might forget what you told them in your last tweet, in your last campaign, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that's the future of marketing. Thank you for your time, and I'm open for any question. Okay, 1 minute. See. It's the root emotion. You always start with the fear because it's the emotion that more impact made to the humans. But as I said, you won't have a successful marketing strategy if you exploit that emotion, because you will that doesn't work. What you should do is to create emotions that support and that calm that fear. Okay, thank you.